Hi guys, Don Rice here. The next step in this process for the Corsair is going to be taking care of the cockpit and trying to detail it. And so one of the things I had done is a long time ago I bought the dynamic balsa cockpit kit. And so that includes things like this is the right side cockpit panel, left side cockpit panel. These are the foot runners that the feet went on, and rudder pedals, and there's all these little bags of stuff. Here's a bag that from which you make the throttle quadrant, and here's a bag from which you make the gun sight, and this is the panel that goes behind the rudder panel. So this is the fuselage former just in front of his feet, and so on. There's a lot of stuff in these kits, and so here's a bunch of detail parts. Here's the lock rails that the canopy slides into. This is the armor plate that goes behind his head, and much of this is made out of resin. It's very heavy, so these are reasonably heavy parts. If you'll remember, I ended up making this myself out of a piece of, so this is my own plywood. This is balsa plywood, laminated 90-90 with some fiberglass on both sides. But this thing only weighs a couple of grams compared to theirs, which weighs a lot of grams. So this is their kit for making the seat, which has a bunch of brass stuff in it, and it's all really detailed. You can make a very nice looking cockpit from this kit. And part of the issue I've had, though, is that while trying to cut out some of these pieces, the plastic itself has cracked in a couple of places, which makes me concerned about the long-term stability of this stuff. So I will pick and choose some of this stuff as I go along. Now, additionally, I bought some additional parts. So this is a nicer version of the gun sight. This is available from iFlyTailies. Yeah, I know it's a weird name. Their name is not on here. iFlyTailies. And something else I got from them is a set of screws. So these aren't actually screws. These are just the screw heads. And so that's kind of nice just for detail work. This is a universal controls kit. So in here are various like little arrow type turning knob things, oxygen knob things, and so on. So you can use these as you wish in order to, just make something that looks good. It doesn't have to be 100% exact. All right. So in addition to that, I don't know if I ever showed you guys this, but this is the actual chair I will be using. This is made by Chad Veitch over at Chad Veitch Models, and to say that it is amazing just doesn't do it credit. And so I'll be using that instead of the kit that I just showed you. Other things from him. So this is a throttle quadrant. So again, I won't be using the one I just showed you. I'll be using this one. Oh, by the way, all the parts move, and all of the you can see at the bottom I can hook up the push rods that go forward to the engine if I wanted to, but only crazy people go there. And I've started making some components. So this is a wren shape block. Wren shape you get from Freeman Supply. It's a type of foam. Here's a bigger block of it. So this is the wren shape 5025. It's the stuff I prefer to use. It sands really easy. You can chuck it up into a machine. So for instance, I chucked this up into a lathe last night, and turned it down to a 1/2 inch diameter piece here, and then chopped some of it off in order to get this little piece right here, which has since been glued to a piece of 10 thousandths G10, and I will rivet that up, and that's going to go on this panel. It's one of this panel, and it gets a handle and. So this is the opening video in the series on the cockpit. Well, I guess technically the one that had the where I was working on the instrument panel and the dashboard, that's the opening series. So this will be, as I go through this and I'm doing things that I think are interesting, I'll make a video of it and keep you guys in the loop. So until then, later. Hey guys, Don Rice here, and what I'm doing is I'm going to make some of these little handles. These handles that go inside the cockpit of the Corsair. They either have 6 sides or 8 sides. I'm not really sure. I don't really care because mine are going to have 6 sides. Why? Because the chuck on my lathe has 3 sides, and I'm going to do things in such a way that, you know, I double that number. So what I've done here is there's a piece of this is not metal. This is wren shape. This is I don't remember which number wren shape it is. Go to Freeman Supply, buy their sample kit for 25 bucks. You get a bunch of this various types of wren shape, which is this highly condensed foam. It's machinable. You can hit it with lacquer thinner. You can paint anything on it. You can use CA. It has a very light texture to it, but there's no grain. It's just amazing stuff for doing detail stuff like this. And so what I've done is I turned down about 3/4 of an inch of this thing, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and put 6 flat sides on this thing, and then I'll cut off, you know, 3 or 4 handles that are all essentially identical. And so what I want to do is I've already turned this down, and I'm going to set this on here. Like that. It happens to have a magnetic base, and I can turn this so that it's you know, essentially there, straight up and down. And then the plan, so here's a good look at the wren shape, sort of. I'm using gray wren shape because it's a little bit harder than some of the stuff I normally use, which is green, and because these are going to be thin discs that are these little turny handle thingies, then so I wanted it to be a little bit harder. But also I kind of chose this over like the orange one, because when I paint this, then I can easily chip away the paint, and I've got like this gray underneath it already, so it'll be really easy to weather. Anyway, here's a file, and I'm just going to kind of eyeball doing this level with the level, and it kind of changes the color of the wren shape. You can see there might, I don't know, I hope you can see it. There's a shiny spot here that tells me that I've got as big a flat spot at the back end as I do at the front end. And so the plan is to do that, and then I can move this to where it says 60 degrees, like that right there, and just kind of hold the chuck in place. And here it's just kind of an eyeball thing, but I think that's about level, and I'm going to file flat in that point as well. And then so I'm just going through this real quick. I'll come back and make this a little more better, but I can move to the next section here and set the level on it, put it at 0, file, and on away, on around. So I will end up with 6 kind of flat, it'll be a roundish dial thing with 6 kind of flats on it, and that's the plan. Okay, so here we are like 5 minutes later. I've sanded the flats into this thing, and my intention now is just to part off, I don't know, as many of these as I can from the piece that I made. And so I'm going to say that's where it touches. Let me zero this out. Alright. Slow that down for parting. And I'll make these about 100 thousandths thick. There we go. That doesn't focus. Okay, so there is a handle to go into. It's a little big. But I'm going to make a few of these. I don't know if I'll use them all, but I'll make a few of these. And then I'm going to make a few that are smaller and find places for them inside the cockpit. Here's the back side. So they need to be cleaned up, and you know, they have the edges softened a little bit, but there you go. Later.